Hey guys, welcome back to another plan with me. It's been a while, right? So I'm starting off this video with a flip through of the previous month, and June has been especially hectic for me, so you'll see that I didn't really keep up with some of the spreads. Honestly, that's really not a big deal for me. It has served its purpose, and that's all that matters regardless if it's all filled in or not. As far as the weekly planning goes, I'm showing you the pretty side of things because usually when I have crazy busy weeks, I just keep some to-do lists at the end of my notebook, and I have to tell you guys, that part is kind of like the dark side of my notebook. Does anyone else have that? Anyways, so I'm moving on to setting up for July, and as usual, I am starting off with the cover page. I didn't always used to do cover pages. They are obviously not necessary, but I've really grown to enjoying the process of drawing them out, so it's kind of stuck. So for this one, I chose to go with a coral theme, and one of the reasons why I kind of choose a theme for each month is that not only does it all look like it all belongs together, but it's also an inspirational safety net because, you know, if you ever run out of ideas of what you could draw, yeah, you can always keep up with the theme. And if you don't like drawing but you still want to have a monthly theme, then you could always just choose maybe 1 or 2 colors to use for that month, or you could do the same header styles on all your spreads, or you could even choose some washi tape of the month. And since we're on that subject, while you're watching me draw this out, I just kind of want to touch on something that's been on my mind for a while, and I've also been talking to a lot of you guys about it, and that is the, let's say, creative side of bullet journals. A lot of people think that it's a waste of time to draw in it, or it's a waste of time to spend it decorating it, or whatever the case may be, and you know, that's totally understandable. It's definitely not for everybody. However, for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of you can also relate, I've always wanted to learn how to draw, but it's not that common that you get to pick up a sketchbook to draw in every day, right? Whereas with my bullet journal, because I do use it every single day, it's much more accessible, and so why not combine the two so that I can be creative if I'm feeling like it, or I can just stick to planning. So anyways, my point is that it doesn't matter if you draw in it or not, it doesn't matter if you spend the time to make it pretty. The point is that, you know, it should be your happy place no matter what that is. And the last point I really want to make is don't think lesser of your bullet journal just because of the others that you see. I know it's easier said than done. I've been there as well, and I still am sometimes, but in the end, you know, it's there to serve you. And when you're gonna look back at it 10 years from now, all those tiny mistakes aren't even gonna matter, so you laugh about them, you know? So that was my rant for today, as we are finally finishing up this cover page, and this did take quite a bit of time, but it was so fun to create, and I especially loved the color combination with the green and the blue. That's always been my favorite, so I really like the way this turned out. The next spread is going to be for my monthly log. For this one, I'm not actually adding or changing any of the sections. I'm just switching up the actual layout. So if you guys remember, I used to do the vertical layout for quite some time, and that has been working great, but I just wanted to try something a little bit different this month, so I just divided the monthly log on both pages, and then I drew my trackers at the bottom going horizontally, and I think I'm really going to enjoy this setup. It's always just kind of fun to move things around so that it doesn't get too boring. On the bottom corner, I decided to draw a coral, and again, you don't have to draw or doodle. You could always use this section for goals or just other things you want to track. The following spreads are going to be much simpler. I didn't want to draw anything on them, so I decided to just make the headers the same. So I just wrote them all out on a separate piece of paper, and then I decided to just add some shadow to the lettering, and I found that by adding the black lines as shadows, it really helps to clean up the shaky or uneven strokes. I also added some highlights with a white gel pen, and then I'm simply cutting them all out, and I just think that by doing this, not only are you preventing bleed-throughs or mistakes, but you also get a really nice 3D effect. And of course this can get a bit bulky if you do it on a lot of the pages on the same spot, but it really doesn't bother me. So the first page was for my time log. I've explained how I use this in my previous videos, and then the other page is for expenses. And again, both are really simple, at least for me they are, because I won't have as much stuff going on this month, so I don't need separate spreads for each of these. Moving on to the next one, which is going to be for food and health. I have done this spread in the past and I used to do it for a very long time, so I just wanted to pick it up again. This spread is basically for tracking the food and everything related to workouts, maybe even water intake, if I can find a way to fit it in there. I'm not too crazy about, counting calories or anything. I mean, it does help some people, but for me, it's just about being more wary of what I eat and how much I exercise and stuff like that. So whatever you think could help you make better choices, or whatever habits you're trying to make or break, you could always try to create a spread to help you out. Next is the journaling part. You guys know I've been doing this for such a long time, and I hope I never stop doing it because I've just been enjoying it so much, and I know that these things are going to be so valuable to me in the future. So I'm just doing 4 lines a day again, and I feel like 4 lines is the perfect balance between having enough space yet not having to write too much. And then for the remaining space, I am just making that a highlight section, and then we are moving on to the brain dump page. Again, it's very simple. I just added the header and that's it. Because I need the space, it gets messy, and I just don't want to have to worry about it. I was thinking though of sectioning off this page somehow so that I could kind of find things easier. So maybe I'll do a personal section, another one for ideas, tasks, and things like that. At the bottom of the page, I just did my social media section as always, and with that we are moving on to the first weekly page. I've actually found that sectioning my weeklies into days doesn't really work for me anymore, because with my schedule there's always been something else coming up and I rarely get to do things exactly when I plan them. I mean, I do have things that I have to get done that week, but not necessarily on specific days, so I prefer to just have a weekly overview with the main events or deadlines or things like that, and then I want to just have a big section where I could put in all my to-dos rather than scheduling them by days. If I do end up needing more space, then I can just dump it all on the following page. Otherwise, I'm going to use it for next week. I was also thinking I could section off my weeklies into different categories. So for example, I could have one for personal stuff, one for just tasks, one for social media and things like that. I don't know how this is going to work out, but I guess you'll see it in my next video. Alright guys, and with that we are done, and here's the final flip through. It honestly didn't seem to me like I spent too much time on it, but I was actually surprised there was about 3 hours of footage, so it was definitely more time consuming because of the cover page, but I really enjoyed setting this up. And also don't forget you can find printables for this in the description. And before you guys go, I really wanted to let you know of 2 giveaways I'm currently hosting on my Instagram. So together with some other amazing people, we are giving away a ton of journaling supplies, and it only takes a few seconds to enter. So if you're interested, I will have all the links down below for you, together with all the supplies I used for creating these spreads. And I also wanted to ask you guys to feel free to let me know if there's any videos you'd like to see. I do have a few requests that I'm working on, but otherwise I'm totally open to your suggestions. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!